Hi, here's a short video on coolant proofing Tormach electrical cabinet. My first Tormach I bought back in 2007 was always a bit borderline with the coolant flow. I was throttling it back on some jobs because I could just see the coolant spraying further and further up the cabinet and actually working its way through the switches or the knob and starting to pull in the back of the cabinet. Had one blackout situation because of that, and so I thought, well, with the new machine I really need to resolve this problem. I've got a 60 litre flow coolant system, and to be able to begin to utilize it I need to better control the coolant ingress into the electrical cabinet area. And so there's three different aspects to this. There's a knob with an O-ring on it. It's completely sealed. A hatch, which is normally in the up position, and only when you're doing heavy machining with a lot of coolant spraying upwards that you'd actually lower the hatch, batten the hatches, and a reduction in height via this different type of key, this sort of angle key that cuts back in on itself, so that we don't have the same projection issues. So if the coolant situation is high flow, then that's dropped down. If you don't have a remote safety stop, as I have, then a flexible diaphragm by the off stop button at this point would be a good addition. While I was building these parts for this latest Tormach, I made up the parts also. It's always quicker when you're doing two lots for the original Series 1 machine. So you can see the construction of it here. It's just a frame with a sloping base, so the coolant drains out should any get past the door. And that frame is silicone sealed onto the electrical cabinet with 4 screws from the inside. This is the design of coolant proof doorknob for the Series 1 with the O-ring in it. And there's a view of the spindle lockout key extension, or rather reduction, that screws over the key, and the top part of the key is cut off. It saves quite a lot of height requirement for the electrical cabinet. Making the hatch frame, sometimes timber's the quickest way to do it, and it's not always a bad choice. In this situation I don't have sheet metal gear, I don't have a guillotine or a press brake folder, and so you can just machine up some good quality wood with the rebates and accurately machine the miters on the end pretty quickly. You know, a couple of hours work and you've made a frame. Once it's painted, it looks a bit like a casting, so it's quite adequate for this situation. Hi, drilling the holes in the electrical cabinet is quite a small job if you mark it out first and centre punch it. An automatic centre punch is a good way to do that. Then fit on the inside a little container, tape it in place approximately opposite where the hole's going to go, so that the swath doesn't end up in the electrical cabinet. First of all, drill with about a 2mm pilot drill, which goes through quickly because of its tiny web, and then enlarge it to the size to clear your screw, perhaps about 5mm. So the sealed doorknob and the hatch cover is keeping out coolant. Can't see any sign of any coolant on the inside.